This is Sales Management Mastery, episode 22.
Welcome to Sales Management Mastery, where you get an insider's look on how to build, motivate, coach, and lead a high-performance, low-maintenance sales team. Here's your host, Ralph Burns.
Hello and welcome to Sales Management Mastery online at salesmanagementmastery.com. And we're here to help you and your sales managers build a team of highly motivated, elite salespeople using easy-to-use, real-world sales management techniques and tactics that'll unleash a flood of new sales for your sales organization. On this episode of Sales Management Mastery, we uncover the 7 secrets to motivating your salespeople who are motivated by companionship, affiliation, and people in 7 proven methods to motivate the people salesperson. I'd also like to remind you that if you'd like to get a jump start on creating your own team of supercharged salespeople using our proven system, you can claim your free sales manager training course of your choice, including our most popular training of all time, How to Motivate Your Sales Team to Peak Performance at the Sales Management Mastery Academy, by going to salestraininggift.com. Now, in previous shows, we discussed the importance of motivating salespeople by what we call their personality types and their motivational profiles. And we've identified 5 separate sales rep motivational profiles that we've discussed a few of them so far in previous shows. And as we continue on our motivational leadership and coaching series on personality types and motivational profiles, today we're going to talk about those salespeople that are primarily motivated for this need for companionship and people and affiliation. Now, as we talked about in previous shows here as well, the way in which you can figure out which sales rep has the type of motivational profile that you should motivate best, you can get inside the Sales Management Mastery Academy. We have that for our paid members on the inside of the Academy, and it's a questionnaire that you take or you have your salespeople take that basically figures out exactly how to motivate them based upon these motivational profiles. So, as we had talked about, there's 5 of them in total, and a lot of them overlap, granted, but 1 or maybe 2 will be predominant in those salespeople that you have. Let's say you have 10 individual sales reps. You might have 3 or 4 that are in one category predominantly, 2 or 3 in another category, 2 or 3 in another category, and maybe 1 in one category. And that's a typical profile as we've broken this down through some of our members as well as some consulting work that we've done here at Sales Management Mastery. So today we're going to talk about these ones that you probably have a lot of, and if you've got a sales force, you're leading a sales force of 100 people, probably 40 or maybe even 50% of people will have this in their motivational profile. And the best part about this is fairly easy to motivate. We're going to give you sort of some highlights about what this motivational profile looks like, and then also start to give you some of the tips in which we've used at the Academy to help our members motivate those types of salespeople to get the types of sales results that you're looking for, which is above expectations and way above your goals and way above performance expectations. So the first thing, like we said, this profile is fairly easy to motivate because of a couple of different things. If you're a trustworthy and honest individual as a sales manager, as a sales trainer, or a business owner, you're already halfway there. You just have to make sure that your salespeople understand that you are a trustworthy person, because this type of profile is extremely motivated by someone who really feels that they're on their side and that they're very transparent. So this profile is extremely vulnerable to suggestions, which is great. So it makes coaching and leading very simple. In other shows, we have talked about how to coach and how to use various types of coaching models in order to get the best out of salespeople. But this type of salesperson is the one that's most open to this sort of coaching. So like we said before, they respond really well to sales managers that they trust. And if you are a genuinely trustworthy person, this is going to be an easy one for you to motivate. They also really respond well to sales managers that they like and take interest in them and know that that the sales manager or the supervisor has their best interest in mind. These are what we call popular sales managers, and we're going to get into that in later shows about the right way in which to be popular. And it's not really what you think, not being the life of the party necessarily, but how to be a popular sales manager. These types of sales reps really do respond well to that type of sales manager and that type of leadership style. So these sorts of salespeople will also be more vested in pleasing a sales manager whom they like and that they respect. So not only are you going to motivate them by helping them out, but they're also going to want to please you because of what you've built up. And we've talked a lot about this trust account, which we're going to get into just in a few seconds here, but that's a really important part of your overall strategy. And you really shouldn't look at any one part of your leadership style as separate from another. Your ability to establish trust, your ability to coach, your ability to lead, your ability to motivate, they're all really one and the same. And if they're all done correctly, then you end up motivating that salesperson. And particularly trust is very important with this sales rep because it's so critical to establish a sort of a positive and a sensitive rapport with them so that they trust you, you trust them, and it's sort of a mutual relationship that works out really well. So how is it that you establish trust? And we've given you a lot of these in previous shows, but we're going to give you some of the highlights and maybe some other ones that you probably haven't heard of here in some of these tips and techniques in which to use with this motivational profile. So the first thing that you got to really remember is that you need to do this on a daily basis. This isn't something that you just sort of do once and then forget about. Making trust account deposits is an ongoing event. It's an ongoing process, which you're constantly putting more deposits in that account than you're taking any withdrawals. And hopefully your withdrawals are far less than your deposits, just like any sort of savings account that you might have. And obviously you don't want to overdraft that account and pay those nasty fees of 16.25% or whatever it happens to be at your bank. They really do penalize you. And when you overdraft your trust account with this particular sales profile, you really end up hurting both you and them. And you end up with a very demotivated sales rep because they are so vulnerable to what you think and your suggestions. And the trust factor is a huge, huge part of that. And you've got to establish it not only just once, but on an ongoing basis. So how do you establish trust with this particular profile? Well, one of the best things to do is to evoke what we call the law of reciprocity. And this is really sort of a basic law that is not necessarily sales related per se, but it's human nature related, in which when you do something nice for someone, they in turn feel a compulsion to do something nice back for you. Now, the law of reciprocity is very important in that you don't ask for something in return. It's not like you're going to the mob boss's daughter's wedding day and asking for a favor, and then he tells you at some point in time you're going to have to repay that favor. This isn't the kind of thing. It's not a tit for tat. It's not a I give you and you give me something in return. That's a contract. This is something where you're constantly giving, you're constantly helping, you're constantly doing things to help them be more and more and more successful. And that if you really have their best interests in heart and you really want them to succeed, then, and why wouldn't you as their supervisor? Because if they succeed, you succeed, then they in turn feel this compulsion to do good things for you in return. And this is very effective in, let's say, you've established a tremendous amount of level of rapport through this law of reciprocity, and then let's say you need a report from them in 5 hours, and it's going to take them a lot of time, and they're in the middle of a lot of things, and they're going to drop everything and help you out because you've helped them out before. So this is how you get people to sort of do things for you, not in sort of a sneaky way or always sort of thinking, how am I going to get repaid for this? But you do it in the fact that it helps them, but in return, you will get a lot in return. And there's a great book called The Go-Giver, which I highly recommend that you all read. And I forget the name of the author off the top of my head, but it's called The Go-Giver. You can get it on Amazon. And it talks about this law of reciprocity and how important it is not only for success in sales, but for success in life and in business in general. Another thing that you can do is call your sales reps and ask them what you can do for them. This is something that they'll be completely shocked